G'day everyone, kumusta? My name is Moen and I am a Filipino American adoptee. Being National Adoption Awareness Month, I want to kind of share with you all a little bit of the story of mine that leads up to the experience that I had back in 2017 when I was reunited with my biological family, completely through Facebook and social media. I personally feel that more than ever, we as adoptees need to really share our stories. We have a very unique life experience that is largely overlooked, especially when it comes to talking about intersectional issues such as race, gender, orientation, and class. Being National Adoption Awareness Month also allows for us to kind of self-reflect on these experiences, and I hope today to share a little bit with you as I will be showing you some of the clips about my reunion with my family that I created for my YouTube channel. You can see the rest of the entire story in detail through the links that we will provide. I was born in '88 and I lived right outside of Detroit, about an hour away. And I grew up in a community that was predominantly white. I always kind of felt this little bit of alienation that was going on where I didn't feel that I could fully fit in. Anytime that I left the house, I was always reminded about my race and how I looked. Things such as, where are you from? Do you speak English? Where are your people from? Questions like that would come up very frequently. And it always reminded me that I'm a foreigner. So that feeling of that alienation kind of melded itself into this desire of wanting to study cultures, wanting to understand people. In fact, you can kind of just tell that I love studying cultures and people. That's become a thing for me. I love learning as much as I can. But largely, I didn't look inwards and wanted to learn more about myself. So somewhere right around middle school is when the spark really started to fly. And I wanted to learn more than ever about who I am as a Filipino American. I started doing my own research, started trying to learn the language, reading the books that I could. In 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, when my teacher showed an incredible documentary to our class all about the Philippines. And I remember she wrote in the upper right corner, "I did this one for you." Because she knew that I had a passion about my culture. She didn't just do it because, oh, there's a Filipino in the class, I must show this. No, me and her had conversations over this, and she wanted to show my culture because we were studying Asia. It was absolutely tremendous. So fast forward to 2006, and I graduate from high school. And traditionally, high schoolers, seniors go on a senior trip. And I wanted to go to the Philippines. So growing up, I was given this little album that has my entire story written inside of it. It talks about my birth mother, her family, and about my brother, and all of this. I don't know if that would be considered an open or a closed adoption, but it gave me some blueprints. So we take this little album in my adoption papers and we go all the way back to the Philippines to the Kaisahang Buhay Foundation, which is located in Manila. And we get to stay with them and get reunited with people who remember me when I was a baby. We went around the orphanages. It was amazing. And we didn't find any biological family, but it's okay. It was still an incredible experience. But there was still that feeling of, it probably wasn't meant to be. So years later, I get into an amazing, wonderful relationship with my partner. We've been together for about 11 years now. And me and him have a conversation, and we talk a lot about my adoption experience. And they suggested to me to go online and maybe just try Facebook. Because at this point, Facebook has become pretty big. Everyone has Facebook. Filipinos love Facebook. I took what I knew, used my paperwork as kind of my blueprint, and started to message people completely out of the blue. I stressed that I am not looking for money. I stressed I'm not looking for anything. I just wanted to learn a little bit more about who I am. Nothing came. I started messaging people in 2015, never heard back. Some messages pop up and they show that they read it, but they never responded, so it didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't until 2017 when I did a follow-up in that January. I followed up with everyone again saying, "Hi, I'm not looking for anything. I just want to learn about my biological family. I want to learn about myself." And I acknowledged that this was hugely risky. We tried doing an agency for a while to find the biological family, but unfortunately, nothing came from that. I sent out a letter back to the agency and the orphanages. Nothing really came from that either. But that drive and that feeling was still really powerful for me. I did a follow-up and did the same thing, same spiel, not looking for anything, just want to know something. And one of my now cousins actually responded and was like, yes, sir, I would love to introduce you to my auntie who lives in Texas. And from there, it just took off. Her name was Tita Joy. And I got to meet her on Facebook. It was a little weird at first because, to be fair, they don't know who I am. I didn't know who they were. And we started talking back and forth. And she was asking these really interesting questions like your family and do you have any other information and da-da-da-da. And over time, we started to really get to know each other. And I shared my information with her and she shared it around the family tree. And for several months, we didn't really find anybody that matched the descriptions. But there was something that could help us. So, before I met my auntie, I actually joined Ancestry and did the DNA test just to learn a little bit about my biological history. And on Ancestry, you can actually get matched with some people who share your DNA. And I did it out of the blue because I wanted to know my history. And because I had an account already, my tita did one as well. So that way, if we matched, at least we found the family. So I'm walking her through this, and she does the DNA test, does the whole spit in the jar thing. It's nothing to do with blood, it's nothing to do with that. It's literally just spitting in a jar. And she sends it in, and we came up as a match. Amazing, I thought. We finally found at least one biological relative, which means that is at least one step closer with finding the biological family. And I really wanted to meet my biological mother. After we met, things just took off the rest of that year. She's sending my information around to the relatives. They're talking with me. We're chatting on group chats and everything. And she's like, I matched this guy and we match each other. We need to find his biological family and all this other stuff. And it was phenomenal. And it turns out that year they were going to have a family reunion, interestingly enough, in the Philippines. And there was a little bit of a debate if it was going to happen or not. But because now I'm back in the picture of the family, they're like, we have to do this. So they messaged all the relatives, which turns out all the relatives were all over the world, to come back to this island, which is Negros Oriental, which is where my birth mother's side of the family is from. And that is where I'm going to leave you from there, and the rest you can see in this documentary that I created. And you'll see how phenomenal this experience was. But kind of reflecting a little bit about this experience 4 years later, I feel that there is some level of closure. I feel that for me personally, I will acknowledge that so many adoptees may or may not ever have this experience. Many adoptees, their stories not only are largely untold, but sometimes their documents are not even accurate. I have friends of mine who found out late in life that they're not even American citizens and they grew up here their whole life. So there's a lot of stories in the adoption communities that people just completely overlook. And I feel more than ever now we have to speak up and really tell our stories and our experiences, because we offer so much knowledge to these dialogues about these intersectional issues. As I mentioned before, about race, class, gender, orientation, all these different things culminate together. And we walk this metamorphosis life where it feels that we can kind of mesh and mold into these different circles because we're living in such a unique position in the world. So with that, please enjoy this documentary. Thank you so much for taking the time out today, and I hope you enjoy this documentary. Maraming salamat po. Hey guys, okay, so this is pretty much going to be episode 1 of this new series that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try to do it every day as much as I can. Yeah, I'm finally now packing to visit my biological family with my dad, in the Philippines. We are flying out tomorrow / the following day at like 2 something in the morning. No, we're not. We're driving out at 2 something in the morning. We're flying out on Wednesday at like sometime in the morning. I'm really out of it right now. I just worked on doing a massive collage of the past 29 years because I'm going to go get that printed tomorrow and bring that to the Philippines so the family can have a copy of that about my life because it's cool. We're at Tim Hortons at 1:48 in the morning.
Which is a little over 60 miles.
London. We're in Canada. You can't tell, but we're in Canada. We're gonna be off to Hong Kong. Like a mall. Okay, so we just got off the plane and we are in Hong Kong and we're looking for food and shops. They have a Disney store because they have Hong Kong Disney. So I just exchanged some extra money. $20 is about 147 Hong Kong dollars. I'm about to get myself some food. Because I am really hungry and everything looks amazing here. Okay, so the lines were really long. So I'm just gonna grab a Starbucks, that'll be fine. We only have about 3 hours before we hit Manila. And yeah, and supposedly we're gonna meet up with Mike, my older brother. And that's gonna be amazing. We found a Starbucks! Because Starbucks is taking over the world. So it's about 7, what time is it? 7, 8, and we just arrived in Manila. So now we're just waiting for our baggage. That's what we do. This young man right here is my older brother Michael. I've known about him my entire life because in my documents, my adoption papers, it's actually mentioned that I have an older sibling. He was the first one that I got to meet when we landed in Manila at the Aquino airport. I don't have any footage of us meeting for the first time because honestly it was a pretty emotional moment and I didn't take my camera out. Our total flight in hours, roughly from Toronto to Hong Kong to Manila, was about 18 to 19 hours. It was significantly cheaper to fly out of Toronto or Chicago than it was out of Detroit. My round trip flight out of Toronto was about $900. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a jeepney filled with bananas.
I don't know how you would cross this without...
All that red is the back of a car.
This bridge, this one. This bridge, like this bridge, working construction.
One thing that we learned about when it comes to the traffic in Manila is that there's actually significant less number of traffic lights. But because of that, a lot of the drivers have to be very aware of what's going on around them, in front of them, on both sides, and behind them, and also be aware of all the motorcyclists and tricyclists who come in and out in between of all the cars and the buses and trucks. According to our driver, there's actually a lot less number of accidents per year there because of that.
Malapit sa Terminal 2, positive taxi pumating. Traffic. Malapit na.
I'm the other side of the world. I'm from Chile.
So we're waiting here in the hotel for some more relatives. It is kind of like name overload right now. We're kind of trying to learn everybody and figure out who is who. But yeah, I'd like to introduce you to my family. This is my brother Mike. He's my older brother. I'm live streaming. So, and this is everybody else. Meeting my family is a God's blessing because this is something I never imagined would ever have been possible, especially because it was completely through Facebook, no agencies, and all word of mouth and sharing videos. So we're all kind of just chilling in the hotel. We're staying at a place called Holiday Inn.
Which one?
Something else.
Oh,
Pasig City. We're in Pasig City. So we're in Pasig City. Is that a So is it like Manila and then Pasig City is like?
Other city.
Oh, it's another city. Okay, so we're in Pasig City, not Manila.
Quezon City, other city.
Other city.
Quezon City is other city.
Another city. So we're in another city. So we're just kind of like chilling here, meeting everybody. We're all kind of like, whoa. My dad is definitely. How are you feeling, Dad? Just like. Yeah, my dad's in name overload right now. Finding Michael was also a really big deal for me on a personal note because when I was younger, I've always known about him because he was written in my documents. And then, long story short, on how I found him was through Tita Joy, finding another relative, and long story short, found him. He messaged me on Facebook. He messaged me because I posted a video of me discovering about my family, and my cousin Floor posted it on her wall, and he's friends with her on Facebook. So, yeah, everybody's here. We're all just kind of like chilling, and then we're gonna do stuff. And I think it's like 10 o'clock over there. But yeah, I got tons of video footage, so I'm gonna splice that together and put that on my YouTube channel. So now we're in Jollibee. My first time. This is my cousin Kiara. Yeah. So kind of packed.
It's a lot. It's packed here.
It's very hot and humid here. So Jollibee combines spaghetti and fried chicken?
Yes, and you eat the chicken with gravy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Filipino food on there. So, but yeah,
Try it.
there are no Jollibees.
Oh, we just got one recently, like probably 3 years ago. And it's expensive. It's $10 for a meal. And here it's so cheap. So that's why we have to go to Jollibee.
So yeah, that's what's happening right now. We're just getting some food at a place that combines spaghetti and chicken. So we just woke up this morning and we're having breakfast. This is apparently a breakfast. Yeah, they got a lot. The breakfast at the holiday. The breakfast at the holiday. The breakfast. The breakfast at the. The breakfast. The break. Sorry, my sound system looks like it was blowing out my voice. But the breakfast at the Holiday Inn had a lot of food from various cultures from all over the world. They had sushi, they had miso soup, they had Chinese, they had Filipino breakfast food and Western breakfast food.
Cheese dogs, sliced ham, some fish.
Okay, so right now what we're doing is we're waiting around. And we're gonna go to the airport and then we're gonna fly down to Dumaguete today. So.
Everyone should do the
So in the Philippines, they don't have very many traffic lights, but everybody works together.
Yeah, exactly.
They really watch each other.
There is not much accident, you know?
Yeah, that's what we had when we were here in 2006, and he said that people, because there's no traffic lights, they have to really work with each other.
Sa Australia, manong wala kang
There's
marinig na
less accidents
pip, pip,
here.
pip. Basta driver, sasabihin ka agad, ilan po? Isa lang.
Okay, so now we are in line, and we are checking our luggage to go down to Dumaguete. Not too crazy here today, but yeah. We're just kind of waiting in line. So, yeah, we'll see you in Dumaguete. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's a family moment right there. Cebu Pacific. That's like a tongue twister. So we're about to take off. Look at all the steam. We look like we're in a sauna. That steam is actually cold. Alright, Dumaguete on Negros Oriental. Behind me is the plane that we were on. And we are walking.
Yes, we're finally here. It took about 45 minutes.
About 40, oh yeah, it was really fast.
It was really fast.
Yeah, and Mike is here too. He has his shades on. And oh my god, that water!
Yeah.
Everything's like so clear down here.
Yes, you saw the ocean?
Yep, and you're right. The weather here isn't like feels as hot.
Yes.
It's a lot cooler down here.
Yeah. A little cooler.
You know, Cherme, your Facebook?
By Facebook?
They're
Chill me.
only outside.
They're on the outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're selling tricycle.
Oh, the So now we're just kind of waiting for our luggage to come off the plane. It's on a track. So he'll be here in just a little bit. The sky is just beautiful and the water is clear out down here, and it's also a lot cooler. So it's quite incredible here. I'm already feeling the emotions really starting to kick in. So Kiara says we gotta go look at the most touristy stuff. That whole billboard is the most touristy stuff. It's just taking pictures. So that's all the really
Popular sites that everyone wants to come here and see.
that lake looks beautiful.
There's other things. There's hot springs. There's cold spring waters. So we gotta try both of them.
Hot springs.
Hot spring.
You can get in?
Yes. And you rub the sulfur on your skin. So nice.
Detoxing! Okay, so we're squished again. But the whole family is in the van. Michael's taking a different route, sounds like. He's gonna go, from what it sounds like, with his children. I'm not sure exactly where we're meeting them or how, but that's what our plan is. So. As soon as we landed, we all jumped into this giant minivan and packed each other like sardines. Pretty much this is the Filipino way, cram as many people in as possible. There were seatbelts, but because there's so many of us, we're pretty much secured. Now one thing that amazes me, just like up in Manila, is the fact that all the drivers here on the roads really take care of each other. And what I mean by that is that they're very aware of who's around them and who's darting in and out of all the traffic. So they're on the lookout, constantly for pedestrians. But apparently accidents are very minor here in the Philippines. The city we're in is Dumaguete in Negros Oriental. The mall that was back there was the Robinsons Mall, the largest mall in Dumaguete. I think actually the largest mall in Negros Oriental.
Because my grandma is Rosa.
Yeah, because P is from De La Peña. Brother.
One of the most important stops that we did here on this trip was to visit the cemeteries, to pay homage to our ancestors, to our relatives, and to our family who passed away. It was really breathtaking. We would light candles and place them up on the locations. One thing that was very interesting to observe while we were over in the cemetery was the various different types of burial sites. Families that didn't have a lot of money had either a really small tombstone or a little cross in the ground. Families that came more from the middle and upper class families had the family members in the walls, just like in the West. And family members who had a lot more money had private areas where the coffin was placed above ground, complete with seating and lock and key. So right now we are riding in a Jeep. Yeah, it's definitely quite an experience. It's a little dangerous. It feels a little dangerous. We don't have any seatbelts. We can stand up apparently.
Go ahead, stand up.
We're just chilling with the fam.
Y'all wanna stand up?
You wanna stand?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let me. Standing on the back of the Jeep. That's what we're doing. That's the car that the rest of the family's in. There's nobody there. I have to admit, this is perhaps one of the coolest experiences that I had on this trip. Standing up behind a Jeep, we don't really get that kind of privilege back home. I mean, granted, yes, we have parades, and if you have private property, or if you are camping or something, but this was normal. People would actually even go as far as to actually sit on top of the Jeep. My hair is really messy now. Whoa, my hair is very messy. For anybody who's never tried this before, I highly recommend it. Obviously, within legal reasons, so. Wow, my hair is gone. But we are in a marketplace. We are looking at vegetables and fruits and clothing galore. There's all kinds of stuff here. There's tarts that we have to kind of like duck down. And there's fish. It's amazing. We're doing some shopping today, so it looks like we're going to the marketplace. There's a lot going on around here. It's amazing. Right now we're walking to the beach. We're just kind of like chilling and walking through a field where it looks like the cows and the rice terraces are. Like small rice terraces. There's cows. Cattle. Just gotta be careful not to step in any poopy. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Right now we're just kind of walking over to the beach. This is like the rice terraces, places where they can grow like rice. Those are coconut palm trees. Just gotta be careful where we're stepping because you don't want to step on any poopy. Wow, this is incredible. Yeah, this is where I'm from. The views in the Filipinas are absolutely beautiful. Later that evening, we got to meet the governor of Negros Oriental, who, it turns out, is an uncle of mine. Or maybe a cousin, but he is definitely part of my family. Right now we're visiting the governor of Negros. We're all just kind of like getting together and just meeting each other. We're all chilling out. Just chilling here on the back porch. So we're now at a hotel or resort called Cavs Beach Resort, mainly because the humidity was really getting to us. It sounded like the plan was going to be we were staying with Nana Chiffy, but the humidity was really overwhelming for some of us, and we needed air conditioning. So we are now here at this resort. I don't know how big it is. It's nighttime, but it's beautiful, and apparently I think the beach is right behind there. So it's really, really nice. Just having some drinks here at the bar, from like mango smoothies and cokes and some beers. So